Forbidden places you are not allowed to enter, and some of them are terrifying. Deep inside the Arctic Circle, hidden within the frozen heart of the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen, lies one of the most secure and mysterious facilities on Earth, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Encased in permafrost and buried deep within a mountain, this facility is often called the Doomsday Vault. Why such a dramatic name? Because even if humanity faced a catastrophic disaster, nuclear war, climate collapse, or a global pandemic, the vault is designed to safeguard the future of the planet's food supply. It serves as a frozen backup of Earth's agricultural life, preserving the diversity of the world's food crops in case everything else is lost. Built to endure for around 200 years, the structure is engineered to survive earthquakes, explosions, and even the melting of all polar ice. Its location, elevated and geologically stable, ensures that it will remain dry and secure no matter what chaos unfolds in the world outside. Inside, over 100 million seeds are stored in the cold, a living archive of every known food crop. And here's something astonishing: politics hold no power here. Even nations under sanctions, like North Korea, have deposited seeds in Svalbard's vault. It's a rare symbol of unity, where enemies on the global stage silently agree on one thing: the survival of the human race must be protected. Recently, the vault saw its first-ever withdrawal. Syria, devastated by years of war, turned to this silent mountain fortress. Seeds once stored in Aleppo's research center, now destroyed, were reclaimed from Svalbard to help replant, restore, and rebuild what conflict had taken away. Those tiny seeds, frozen in the dark, are now breathing life back into fields scorched by war and drought. This is more than a building. It's a message carved in stone and ice, a declaration that even if humanity falls, life can grow again. Located in the Bay of Bengal, North Sentinel Island is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last truly uncontacted tribes in the world. These people have had zero contact with modern civilization, and they intend to keep it that way. It's believed they survive entirely through hunting, fishing, and foraging from the wild. There are no signs of agriculture, no evidence of fire, and no desire for outside influence. They've lived this way for thousands of years, untouched, unbothered, and fiercely protective of their isolation. The first known peaceful expedition was in 1967, led by anthropologist T.N. Pundit. It was a brief moment of observation, but even then, any interaction was minimal and cautious. Since then, nearly every attempt to make contact has been met with aggression. In 2006, 2 fishermen drifted too close to the island and were killed by the tribe. The Indian government made no attempt to retrieve the bodies or prosecute anyone, because doing so would have meant disturbing a culture that has made it crystal clear: outsiders are not welcome. Today, entering North Sentinel Island is strictly forbidden. Not just to protect the tribe, but to protect visitors from a deadly encounter. Step foot there, and you may not come back. This is one of the few places left on Earth where ancient life survives in complete isolation, and it wants to stay that way. In the heart of ancient Hierapolis, Turkey, lies a place the Romans once feared, a dark gateway known as Pluto's Gate, or the Plutonian. It was believed to be an entrance to the underworld, a sacred site dedicated to Pluto, the Roman god of death. Legend said that death itself seeped from the ground, invisible and merciless. Ancient historian Strabo, intrigued and disturbed, recorded his own terrifying observation. He wrote, "Any animal that passes inside meets instant death. I threw in sparrows, and they immediately breathed their last and fell." For centuries, it was dismissed as myth. But in 1965, the site was rediscovered, and the truth was more chilling than fiction. Scientists found that the legends were rooted in reality. The cave emits a high concentration of carbon dioxide, CO2, especially deadly at night. During the day, sunlight helps dissipate the gas. But when temperatures drop after sunset, the gas, heavier than air, begins to settle and pool like a toxic lake. At dawn, just 40 centimeters above the arena floor, CO2 levels spike to 35%, enough to silently kill animals or even humans within minutes. It's a death trap disguised as sacred ground. The deeper you go, the more dangerous it becomes. Just standing by the ancient gate is harmless for most people, but for small creatures and ancient worshippers who dared step too close, it meant certain death. What the Romans feared was not myth. It was science, thousands of years ahead of its time. Beneath the romantic streets of Paris lies a terrifying secret, a shadow world carved into the earth. Originally dug to strengthen the city's collapsing stone mines, these tunnels would soon serve a much darker purpose. By the end of the 18th century, they became the final resting place for over 6 million souls. Bones and skulls, stripped of identity and history, are stacked like grim architecture, forming walls of death that stretch into the darkness. Tourists are allowed to walk through a small section of this underground labyrinth, where neatly arranged remains offer a haunting glimpse into the past. But that's just 1%, only a fraction of what exists. The rest? Off limits. An estimated 170 miles of pitch-black tunnels twist and turn endlessly, and entering them without permission is not only illegal, it's a near-certain death sentence. People have gone in, and never come out. Yet, the forbidden nature only fuels the curiosity. Urban explorers, thrill-seekers, and even secret societies risk their lives to navigate the catacombs, defying the darkness, the law, and their own fear. Some say rituals happen in the deep. Others whisper about hidden chambers and lost evidence. Whatever the truth is, one thing's for sure, the catacomb police force, nicknamed the Cataflex, have their hands full chasing the living through a graveyard built for the dead. Off the coast of Venice, shrouded in mist and silence, lies Poveglia Island, one of the most terrifying and mysterious places in the world. Its story begins in the era of the Roman Empire, when it served as a quarantine zone for plague victims. Those who were infected were brought here, isolated, and left to die in despair. Centuries later, during the medieval resurgence of the Black Death, Poveglia once again became a dumping ground for the sick and dying. Thousands were thrown into mass graves, some still breathing, while others were burned in great pyres. So many bodies were disposed of here that legend says the soil itself is now nearly 50% human ash. As if that weren't disturbing enough, in 1922, a mental hospital was built on the island. With its haunted legacy already heavy in the air, patients reportedly suffered even more. Strange stories began to circulate, of inhumane experiments, screams echoing through empty halls, and a deranged doctor who eventually fell to his death from the hospital tower. Today, the island is silent, abandoned, but not at peace. Human bones still occasionally wash up on its shore, remnants of a horrifying past that refuses to stay buried. Locals say the island is cursed, haunted by the souls who suffered and died there. It's illegal to visit, but even if you could go, would you dare set foot on such haunted ground? In the heart of Xi'an's Lintong district lies one of the greatest archaeological enigmas the world has ever known, the mausoleum of China's first emperor, Qin Huang. Discovered in 1974 during the unearthing of the awe-inspiring Terracotta Army, this colossal underground tomb has fascinated historians, scientists, and the world ever since. But while the statues have been studied and admired, the tomb itself remains sealed, untouched for over 2,000 years. Why? Because what lies within is still a complete mystery. Many experts argue that we simply aren't ready. The fear is that current technology isn't advanced enough to safely excavate or preserve the treasures, secrets, or possibly even traps that may lie buried deep inside. Ancient texts hint at rivers of flowing mercury, intricate booby traps, and an underground palace beyond imagination. And so, the emperor still rests undisturbed, his secrets locked beneath layers of history and stone, in a tomb we are forbidden to enter, until the day we're truly prepared to face what it hides. Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, Ukraine. 1986, the year the world witnessed one of the most catastrophic nuclear accidents in history, the Chernobyl disaster. In a matter of hours, life came to a standstill. Radiation levels soared, invisible and deadly. Every resident was ordered to leave immediately. No time to pack, no time to think, just run. Today, what remains is haunting. Abandoned shoes still lie in hallways. Children's toys rest untouched in dust-covered classrooms. Photographs hang crooked on crumbling walls, ghosts of a life that once was. While some guided tours allow access to limited areas around Chernobyl, a large part of the site remains completely off-limits. Stretching over 19 miles, this area is known as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, or simply, the Zone. Entry is strictly forbidden. Even decades later, the radiation lingers. Stepping beyond the permitted boundary could mean serious health consequences, or worse. It's a place frozen in time. A chilling reminder of the power we can't control, and the silence that follows when things go terribly wrong. Off the southeastern coast of Brazil, in the heart of the Atlantic Ocean, lies an island so dangerous it's completely off-limits to the public. Ilha de Queimada Grande, known ominously as Snake Island, is home to one of the world's deadliest and most elusive creatures, the golden lancehead pit viper. These snakes are critically endangered and found nowhere else on Earth. But what makes the island truly terrifying isn't just their venom, it's their numbers. Some estimates suggest there's one venomous snake for every single square meter of land. Imagine taking a single step and being surrounded in every direction. To protect both the golden lanceheads and unsuspecting visitors, Brazilian authorities have permanently closed the island to the public. Only select researchers with special permits are allowed to set foot here, and even they must bring a doctor along. This is not just a forbidden place, it's a living nightmare wrapped in jungle and silence. Off the coast of Iceland lies a place unlike any other, a remote island that didn't exist until 1963. Born from a violent volcanic eruption that raged beneath the sea for 3 straight years, this landmass, called Surtsey, emerged from the ocean as one of the youngest pieces of land on Earth. But unlike other islands that quickly get touched by tourism or human hands, Surtsey was locked away from the very beginning. No visitors. No buildings. No human interference. Why? Because Surtsey is a living laboratory. A pristine, untouched environment where scientists can study how life begins from scratch, how an ecosystem develops without any influence from humans. Only a few selected scientists are allowed to step foot on its volcanic soil, and even they must follow strict rules. No seeds. No plants. Nothing artificial that could corrupt the island's natural evolution. But sometimes, nature finds its own strange way to rebel. One day, to the confusion of researchers, a tomato plant sprouted upright from a crack in the lava field. For a moment, it was a mystery. Had birds brought it in? Wind? A miracle? As it turns out, someone had broken the rules. A scientist had, unknowingly, used the rocky terrain as a bathroom. The tomato seeds from their digestion took root, and life began, in the most unexpected way. The plant was immediately destroyed. Because on Surtsey, even a single seed could disturb decades of crucial research. It's a place where the rules of nature are being written and rewritten, one microbe at a time. Tucked away in the Nevada desert, around 100 miles north of Las Vegas, lies one of the most secretive and controversial locations on Earth, Area 51. For decades, the U.S. government refused to even acknowledge its existence. It wasn't until 2013 that officials finally admitted it was real. But by then, the mystery had already taken root. Officially, Area 51 is a military installation used by the CIA and the U.S. Air Force for the testing of experimental aircraft and weapons. Its remote location makes it the perfect place for top-secret research. But for many, the official explanation isn't enough. Area 51 has become ground zero for UFO conspiracies. Some believe it's where a crashed alien spacecraft is being studied in complete secrecy. Others are convinced that extraterrestrial technology has already been reverse-engineered there. Theories swirl around everything from alien autopsies to time travel experiments. Every year, conspiracy theorists and curiosity seekers travel to the edges of this restricted zone, hoping to catch a glimpse of the unknown. But make no mistake, crossing the line is not an option. Armed guards patrol the area, and trespassers face serious consequences. What really happens behind those fences and warning signs? That's something we may never truly know. But the mystery of Area 51 only grows deeper with time. Deep beneath the bustling city of Moscow, hidden from public view, lies one of Russia's most closely guarded secrets, Metro 2. Built during the reign of Joseph Stalin, this underground transport system was never meant for the public. Known only to the highest levels of government, Metro 2 was designed to connect vital state locations like the Kremlin, the Vnukovo 2 airport, and the General Staff Academy. But this isn't just a series of tunnels. It's reported to contain private apartments, technical rooms, and possibly even war bunkers, everything needed for elite officials to survive and escape during times of crisis. The system has been shrouded in denial and mystery for decades. The Moscow Metro Administration officially claims it doesn't exist. But in 1994, an urban exploration group claimed they discovered an entrance, suggesting that the rumors were true all along. Of the 4 secret lines rumored to exist, only one has been partially confirmed, Line D6. Access to this underground network is strictly prohibited. No tourists, no explorers, no unauthorized personnel. Only those with high-level security clearance and a special pass are allowed inside. For the rest of the world, Metro 2 remains a hidden world beneath the surface, one we may never fully uncover. Hidden beneath the earth near the quiet village of Montignac lies a cave system unlike any other. The Lascaux Caves, an ancient time capsule of human expression, are covered from floor to ceiling with vivid paintings of animals, their outlines dancing in flickering torchlight, frozen in time for over 17,000 years. These images, drawn with astonishing skill, depict bulls, horses, deer, creatures once hunted by early humans. No one knows for certain why they were painted, but many anthropologists believe they served as ritual symbols, perhaps to honor a successful hunt or to summon good fortune for hunts yet to come. It was in 1940, during the chaos of World War II, that an 18-year-old boy named Marcel Ravidat stumbled upon the entrance. What he found sparked global fascination and a flood of curious visitors. But opening the caves came at a terrible cost. Thousands of tourists flocked inside daily, their breath, their movements, even the light they carried slowly poisoned the fragile ecosystem within. Mold crept across the walls. The ancient pigments began to fade. The damage was irreversible. By 1963, just over 2 decades after their discovery, the caves were sealed shut to protect what remained. Today, the original Lascaux cave is off-limits to the public. What survives within those dark, sealed chambers is more than just art. It's a whisper from our distant ancestors, a message we are no longer allowed to hear firsthand. Imagine a place so secret, so sacred, that only a handful of chosen individuals are ever allowed to enter. Hidden deep within the walls of Vatican City lies the Vatican Secret Archives, an immense and mysterious vault stretching over 53 miles of ancient shelving. This isn't a dusty old library. It's a fortress of the past, locked away from the eyes of the world. Inside, preserved under strict watch, are handwritten letters, forgotten manuscripts, and sealed documents that trace the rise, power, and shadows of the Catholic Church. Some of these pages date back as far as the 8th century, so old, they were written when Europe was still crawling out of the Dark Ages. One such document reveals the details of Martin Luther's excommunication, a moment that shook Christianity to its core. Another is a personal letter from Michelangelo himself, pleading with Pope Julius II. Access to this archive isn't just difficult, it's nearly impossible. Only a select few researchers, handpicked and granted special permission, are ever allowed through its guarded gates. And even they are limited in what they can see. What secrets lie buried in those shelves? What truths have been hidden for centuries? We may never know. Because this place wasn't just built to preserve history, it was built to protect it from the world. Niihau Island, hidden among the Hawaiian archipelago, is often called the Forbidden Island. Isolated and untouched, this mysterious land has remained off-limits to the outside world for over a century. Back in 1864, the entire island was bought by Elizabeth Sinclair, and to this day, it remains privately owned by her descendants. But the island didn't earn its forbidding nickname until 1952, during the polio epidemic that swept through the Hawaiian Islands. In a bold move to protect its people, Niihau was completely sealed off, no one could enter or leave. And the result? Not a single case of polio touched the island. Isolation became its armor, and its identity. Today, only about 170 people live there, preserving a way of life most of us can only imagine. The island is so exclusive that even the world's richest and most powerful are kept at bay. It's said that even Mick Jagger, the legendary rock star, was denied permission to land his helicopter there. No amount of fame, fortune, or influence can guarantee access. Niihau isn't just a forbidden island, it's a living secret, protected by silence, tradition, and time itself. Tucked away in the East River, just a short distance from Manhattan, lies North Brother Island, a forgotten 13-acre patch of land with a haunting past. Most people have never heard of it, yet it's the site of one of New York's deadliest tragedies. Over 1,000 people lost their lives here when a passenger ship caught fire and sank in the surrounding waters. The air, heavy with history, still seems to whisper the cries of those lost souls. But the island's dark legacy didn't end there. It later became home to Riverside Hospital, a facility dedicated to isolating patients with highly contagious diseases. And it was here that the infamous Mary Mallon, better known as Typhoid Mary, was confined. She was the first known case in the United States of an asymptomatic carrier of typhoid fever. Though she never showed symptoms herself, she unknowingly infected more than 50 people, and at least 3 of them died. Despite the mounting evidence, Mary refused to believe she was a carrier. She continued working as a cook, rarely washing her hands, and in doing so, served deadly desserts to unsuspecting families. When the hospital shut down, the island stood silent once more. But in the 1950s, a new chapter began when a rehabilitation center for drug addicts was established. That too eventually closed, and North Brother Island was abandoned again, left to be reclaimed by nature. Today, the island is a sanctuary for herons and other shorebirds, untouched by the chaos of the city just across the river. And while it remains off-limits to the public, its eerie ruins and tragic history continue to cast a long, invisible shadow over New York. In 2011, the world watched in horror as Japan was struck by one of the most devastating nuclear disasters in history, the Fukushima catastrophe. The explosion released dangerous levels of radiation into the atmosphere, prompting an immediate evacuation order for all residents within an 18-mile radius. Entire towns were abandoned overnight, left frozen in time, homes with dishes still on the table, schools with backpacks on desks, lives interrupted without warning. The event was so severe that it was classified as a Level 7 disaster on the International Nuclear Event Scale, an ominous rank shared only with the infamous Chernobyl meltdown. Entry into the exclusion zone was strictly prohibited. The radiation levels were far too hazardous. Yet, not everyone obeyed the warning signs. One man, a 27-year-old Malaysian photographer named Kiawi Long, made a decision that stunned many. Armed with nothing more than a camera and raw curiosity, he illegally slipped past the barricades and ventured into the radioactive silence of Fukushima's ghost towns. He wore no protective gear. No radiation suit. No mask. Just his instincts and his lens. What he found was chilling. A world untouched for years. Nature had begun reclaiming the streets, vines growing through the cracks of once bustling supermarkets. Personal belongings lay scattered, abandoned but eerily preserved. And amidst the silence, the haunting stillness of a place that once lived and breathed. It feels like a real-life version of Fallout, Kiao later told Bored Panda. And for anyone who has seen his photographs, it's hard to disagree. The Fukushima exclusion zone remains off-limits to this day, a silent reminder of how quickly modern life can unravel when nature, technology, and catastrophe collide. Hidden deep in the forests of Japan lies one of the most sacred and mysterious places in the world, the Grand Shrine of Ise. Dedicated to Amaterasu, the Shinto goddess of the sun and the universe, this ancient temple is more than just a spiritual site, it's a living symbol of tradition, divinity, and impermanence. The shrine is a marvel in itself. It's built entirely without nails. Instead, the wood is masterfully interlocked, using ancient techniques passed down for generations. But perhaps the most fascinating part is that the entire structure is torn down and rebuilt every 20 years, piece by piece, beam by beam. This ritual reflects the deep Shinto belief in death and rebirth, and it ensures that the knowledge of building the shrine is never lost. But for all its beauty and spiritual power, this is not a place just anyone can visit. Entry is strictly forbidden to the public. Only the high-ranking priests and select members of the imperial family are allowed inside its sacred boundaries. Even standing near it feels like being close to something otherworldly. Visitors can only catch a faint glimpse of the shrine from behind tall wooden fences. No photos are allowed. No step beyond the limit is permitted. It is a place both timeless and untouchable, forever out of reach, yet always drawing curious eyes and reverent hearts. Tucked away in the quiet redwood forests of Monte Rio, California, lies a place shrouded in secrecy, Bohemian Grove. Once every year, around 2,500 of the world's most elite men gather here for an exclusive event that has taken place since 1872. This isn't just any gathering. These are high-ranking politicians, Nobel Prize winners, powerful military leaders, and presidents of top-tier universities like Harvard and Yale. Behind the locked gates and towering trees, the Bohemian Club hosts an event cloaked in ritual and performance. It's said that the members put on elaborate plays and partake in strange ceremonies passed down through generations. Their motto, "Weaving spiders come not here," makes it clear, business and politics are to be left at the door. This is a retreat, not a boardroom. And yet, what happens inside has stirred whispers for decades. The event remains strictly male-only. Women are allowed, but only as staff, never as participants. Journalist John Ronson, who managed to infiltrate the gathering, described what he saw not as a sinister conspiracy, but something altogether different. In his words, it felt like a playground for powerful men trapped in their college years. Elvis impersonators, eerie mock rituals, heavy drinking, it all felt oddly immature for people who wield such enormous influence in the outside world. Bohemian Grove remains one of the most exclusive and mysterious places in the United States. A place where the powerful play, far from the eyes of the public. Tucked away off the coast of South Carolina lies a strange and secretive place, an island the public is strictly forbidden from stepping foot on. It's called Morgan Island, but most know it by its eerie nickname, Monkey Island. This isolated stretch of land is home to a colony of around 4,000 rhesus monkeys. But here's the twist, they don't belong there naturally. These monkeys were relocated from La Parguera in Puerto Rico decades ago, after troubling incidents began to unfold. In Puerto Rico, the monkey population had exploded beyond control. Even worse, some monkeys infected with the dangerous herpes B virus began escaping into human communities. Fearing the health risks and struggling with overpopulation, officials sought a new, isolated home for the primates. That's when South Carolina stepped in, offering the uninhabited Morgan Island as a sanctuary. Today, this island operates under strict federal restrictions. It's completely off-limits to the public, for their safety, and for the monkeys. The only people allowed to set foot on the island are researchers from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, who own and monitor the colony. What happens beyond its shores remains mostly unknown, leaving Morgan Island shrouded in mystery and caution.